We have a new development this morning from a CBC investigation into RCMP's surveillance of Indigenous leaders back in the 1970s. Brett Forrester is leading the investigation, and he joins me now. Good morning, Brett. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Walk us through what were the main points that you uncovered.
So these are declassified RCMP intelligence reports confirming the RCMP security service, the forerunner of CISA, spied on Inuit politicians as they were developing the proposal to create Nunavut in the 1970s. John Amagwalik is widely regarded as the father of Nunavut for his work on this, and we've just learned that he was one of their main targets. In an interview last week, he told me he remembers being spied on in the late 1960s. The same Mounties would follow him on flights. It became so familiar they would actually wave at the officers. These weren't busy flights. You had to fly everywhere from the north to the south. So the spies would actually follow Inuit leaders on their flights back and forth. Amagwalik said they stuck to us like glue right through to our offices in Iqaluit. They had rooms right across the hall from us, and we decided it must be the RCMP. So why was the spy agency doing this? Amagwalik was part of the national advocacy organization, Inuit Tapiriizat of Canada, now Inuit Tapiriit Kanatami. And the Mounties were concerned the Inuit would form an alliance with Dene leaders in the Western Arctic to enhance their negotiating power. At this time, the Northwest Territories encompassed present-day Nunavut, and the documents show the Mounties were monitoring leadership changes, internal paranoia about surveillance, and conflicts between perceived moderates and alleged hardliners. This was all part of their extensive so-called racial intelligence and native extremism programs. We've been unraveling those stories for the last month or so, and the evidence strongly suggests the surveillance of Inuit was purely political, and it was aimed at dividing Indigenous peoples and disrupting their organizing. As you can imagine, these reports are generating quite a lot of anger across the country. ITK President Natan Obed told me this week that there needs to be a reckoning on this.
The reporting results are disturbing, but not out of line with what we knew to be happening during those time periods. It was quite obvious from the racist government policies of the day that the government of Canada didn't see Inuit as people during that time frame.
So he called this many things: unfortunate, frustrating, even maddening, but not surprising. He said he intends to follow up with the National Archives in Ottawa to get access to the full dossier on his predecessors.
So it was a long time ago, Brett. So 50 years or so. Are we expecting to see things develop from this investigation?
We certainly are, and while this happened a long time ago, this is actually the first time the people who were targeted with this program have got to see the proof. Across the country, First Nations, Inuit, and Métis leaders have told us they always suspected this was going on, even in the 1970s. Only now, today, they can actually prove it. So between 1972 and 1980, the Mounties compiled 4 folders of intelligence on Obed's organization. That file is still classified. What I just described is the tip of the iceberg. We don't know how intrusive this investigation was, whether the Mounties had informers or wiretaps when they were targeting the Inuit organization, as they did when they were targeting, for example, the predecessor of the Assembly of First Nations. Our investigation was based on 4 files, which together spanned 6,000 pages. It's possible this represents less than 10% of the total material created through these so-called racial intelligence programs. So what happens next is being discussed. Indigenous leaders are calling for an apology, an inquiry. Some are mulling a class action lawsuit. Canada's top Mountie has issued a statement of quote-unquote sincere regret for this program, but Obed is calling for more accountability. He said there needs to be accountability and consequences for this.
All right. Thanks for your reporting, Brett.
Thank you.
Brett Forrester in Ottawa. And you can read more about his investigation online. His story is now up on CBCNews.ca.